The Royal Flying Corps and Royal Naval Air Service flew dozens of aircraft in World War I, from nimble scouts to heavy bombers and seaplanes patrolling the channel. This video breaks down every important aircraft they put into the skies over the Western Front. Let's begin with the early scouts and fighters. The Royal Aircraft Factory, BE-2, one of the first aircraft to see combat. The BE-2 was originally designed as a stable reconnaissance platform. Inherently stable but difficult to maneuver, it became known as Fokker fodder when German fighters arrived. Despite its vulnerabilities, it served throughout the war in training and home defense roles. Airco DH4, Britain's answer to the Fokker Scourge. The DH4 was a pusher biplane with the engine mounted behind the pilot. This unconventional layout allowed a forward-firing machine gun without interrupter gear. Nimble and aggressive, it helped the Allies regain air superiority in 1916. Royal Aircraft Factory FE-2, a large two-seat pusher design, the FE-2 placed the gunner in the nose with an excellent field of fire. Though slow and cumbersome, it packed a heavy punch and could absorb significant battle damage. Its crew fought from an exposed position, making it a dangerous assignment in freezing conditions at altitude. Sopwith Pup, officially the Sopwith Scout, this delightful little fighter earned the nickname Pup due to its compact size. Light, responsive, and perfectly harmonized, pilots loved its gentle handling characteristics. It was one of the first aircraft successfully landed on a ship, pioneering carrier aviation. Sopwith Triplane, featuring 3 narrow wings for exceptional climb rate and maneuverability, the triplane gave British pilots a decisive advantage in early 1917. Its innovative design inspired the Germans to create their own triplanes. Though produced in limited numbers, it earned a fearsome reputation in the hands of naval aces. Sopwith Camel, the most successful Allied fighter of the war with over 1,400 victories, the Camel was a temperamental beast. Its rotary engine and forward weight bias made it viciously agile but unforgiving to novice pilots. In skilled hands, it could outturn anything in the sky, dominating dogfights throughout 1917 and 1918. Royal Aircraft Factory SE-5AA. Designed as a stable gun platform, the SE-5A was faster and more forgiving than the Camel. It featured twin machine guns, 1 synchronized Vickers and 1 Lewis on the upper wing. Many of Britain's top aces, including James McCudden and Edward Manock, preferred its steady, dependable characteristics. Sopwith Snipe. Entering service in the final months of the war, the Snipe was intended as the Camel's replacement. Powered by the Bentley rotary engine, it combined excellent performance with improved handling characteristics. Major William Barker won the Victoria Cross flying a Snipe in an epic solo battle against multiple German fighters. Sopwith Dolphin, an unusual fighter with a distinctive backward-sloping upper wing, the Dolphin offered excellent downward visibility for ground attack. Its compact design and powerful engine made it fast, though pilots felt vulnerable with the fuel tank positioned directly ahead of the cockpit. It excelled in the low-level fighter-bomber role during the final Allied offensives. Bristol F2B Fighter. Universally known as the Brisfit, this 2-seater revolutionized fighter tactics. Fast, maneuverable, and heavily armed, it was flown aggressively like a single-seat scout rather than a traditional reconnaissance aircraft. The pilot operated a forward Vickers gun while the observer commanded a flexible Lewis gun, making it a formidable opponent from any angle. Martin's G-100 Elephant, a large single-seat fighter designed to tackle German bombers. The Elephant was fast and powerful but lacked agility. Its massive size and robust construction earned it the Elephant nickname. When it proved inadequate as a fighter, it found success as a ground attack aircraft and light bomber. Next on the list is reconnaissance and observation aircraft. Royal Aircraft Factory RE-8, nicknamed Harry Tate. After a music hall comedian, the RE-8 became the standard corps reconnaissance aircraft. Stable and reliable, it performed artillery spotting and photography missions despite being slow and vulnerable to fighters. Over 4,000 were built, making it one of the most numerous British aircraft of the war. Armstrong Whitworth FK-8, known as the Big Ack. This large 2-seater was designed to replace the BE-2. More robust and better armed than its predecessor, it could defend itself more effectively. It served extensively on the Western Front for reconnaissance, bombing, and ground attack missions throughout 1917 and 1918. Royal Aircraft Factory BE-12, a misguided attempt to create a fighter by removing the observer from the BE-2 and adding a more powerful engine. The resulting single-seater retained the BE-2's poor maneuverability while losing its defensive rear gun. It quickly proved disastrous in combat and was relegated to training and home defense duties. Sopwith 1.5 Strutter, named for its unusual cabane struts between the wings, this versatile two-seater was Britain's first aircraft with a synchronized machine gun. It served as a fighter, bomber, and reconnaissance platform with both British and French forces. Its variable incidence tailplane was an innovative feature for the era. RAF BE-2C, an improved version of the original BE-2, this variant saw extensive service in reconnaissance and light bombing roles. Stable to the point of being sluggish, it required a skilled observer to defend against nimble enemy scouts. Despite heavy losses, it remained in frontline service longer than it should have due to production numbers. Let's move on to bombers and ground attack aircraft. Airco DH4, arguably the best light bomber of the war, the DH4 combined speed, range, and bomb load effectively. Fast enough to outrun many fighters, it pioneered daylight bombing raids deep into German territory. American forces adopted it enthusiastically, producing thousands for their own squadrons. Airco DH9, intended as an improved DH4. The DH9 suffered from an unreliable, underpowered engine. Despite being slower and less capable than its predecessor, production continued due to manufacturing commitments. Crews faced dangerous missions in an aircraft inferior to what they were replacing. Airco DH9A. Rectifying the DH9's shortcomings, the DH9A featured the powerful American Liberty engine. This transformed it into an excellent bomber with good performance and reliability. It continued serving in the RAF long after the armistice, seeing action in numerous colonial conflicts throughout the 1920s. Airco DH-10 Amiens, a large twin-engine bomber designed for long-range strategic missions. The Amiens featured a streamlined fuselage and pusher propellers. It arrived too late to see significant combat in World War I. Its modern design influenced post-war bomber development. Handley Page O, Britain's first heavy bomber. This massive twin-engine aircraft could carry up to 2,000 pounds of bombs. Its size shocked observers when it first appeared, dwarfing everything else on the airfield. Crews of 4 operated its multiple defensive gun positions during night raids against German industrial targets. Handley Page O/400, an enlarged and improved version of the O/100. The O/400 became the standard British heavy bomber. With better engines and increased payload capacity, it conducted strategic bombing campaigns against German cities and military installations. Over 400 were built, forming the backbone of the Independent Air Force's bombing offensive. Handley Page 5/1500, designed to bomb Berlin from bases in England. This four-engine giant was the largest Allied aircraft of the war. It boasted a wingspan of 126 feet and could carry 30 bombs. Only 3 reached France before the armistice, and the planned raids on Berlin never materialized. Vickers Vimy, another large twin-engine bomber that arrived too late for combat. The Vimy achieved fame in peacetime. Alcock and Brown made the first non-stop transatlantic flight in a Vimy in 1919. Its reliable design and long range made it ideal for pioneering long-distance flights and post-war military service. Sopwith Salamander, purpose-built for ground attack with heavy armor plating protecting the pilot and fuel tank from ground fire. The Salamander could strafe trenches and attack targets at treetop level with greater survivability. Over 1,400 were ordered, but only a handful reached squadrons before the war ended. Sopwith Cuckoo, Britain's first purpose-designed torpedo bomber, developed to attack the German high seas fleet in harbor. It could carry an 18-inch torpedo slung beneath the fuselage. The war ended before it could conduct the planned mass torpedo strike against German naval bases. Next on the list is Naval and Maritime Patrol Aircraft, short 184. The most successful British seaplane of the war, the short 184 performed reconnaissance, anti-submarine patrol, and even bombing missions. It became the first aircraft to sink a ship with a torpedo in 1915. Robust and versatile, it operated from seaplane carriers and coastal stations throughout the war. Sopwith Baby, a compact single-seat seaplane developed from the Sopwith Schneider racer. The Baby served aboard seaplane carriers and coastal stations. Light and nimble, it could be hoisted aboard ships and launched quickly. It performed anti-Zeppelin patrols and reconnaissance over the North Sea. Sopwith 2 F1 Camel, a specialized shipboard version of the Camel featuring a removable rear fuselage for storage, detachable Lewis gun, and lighter construction. It could be launched from platforms on battleships and cruisers to intercept Zeppelins. Flight Sub-Lieutenant Stuart Cully shot down Zeppelin L-53 from a 2 F1 Camel launched from a lighter in 1918. Ferry Campania, a large patrol seaplane designed specifically to operate from HMS Campania, Britain's first true seaplane carrier. This three-seat aircraft conducted long-range reconnaissance over the North Sea, searching for German submarines and ships. Its range and endurance made it valuable for extended patrols. Felixstowe F2, a large twin-engine flying boat developed from American Curtiss designs but significantly improved. The F2 series became excellent anti-submarine patrol aircraft with good seakeeping and defensive armament. Flying boat crews engaged German seaplanes in running battles over the North Sea. Felixstowe F5, the ultimate development of the F-series flying boats, the F5 featured refined hull design and more powerful engines. It represented the pinnacle of British flying boat development during the war. Too late for extensive combat service, it influenced post-war maritime patrol aircraft design. Short N-2B, a nimble single-seat seaplane fighter designed to defend seaplane stations and engage German aircraft over the water. Fast and maneuverable for a floatplane, it provided air defense for naval facilities. Limited numbers served with coastal patrol squadrons. White Converted Seaplane, a family of patrol seaplanes based on various Sopwith landplane designs fitted with floats. These conversions served in secondary roles when purpose-built seaplanes were unavailable. They performed adequately in reconnaissance and patrol duties despite being compromised by their added weight and drag. Continuing with training and general-purpose aircraft. Avro 504, the most famous training aircraft of the war. The Avro 504 taught thousands of pilots to fly. Gentle and forgiving, it remained in RAF service for over 20 years. Early in the war, it conducted one of the first strategic bombing raids, attacking German Zeppelin sheds. Royal Aircraft Factory FE-8, a single-seat pusher fighter that arrived after the pusher configuration was becoming obsolete. Outclassed by German fighters when introduced, it served briefly on the Western Front before being relegated to training duties. Its outdated layout made it unsuitable against the latest enemy scouts. Sopwith Tabloid, a sprightly little biplane that gained fame before the war as a racing aircraft. The Tabloid saw limited combat service. Its compact size and good performance made it useful for reconnaissance early in the war. Several conducted daring solo raids on German facilities. Maurice Farman Shorthorn, an ungainly pusher biplane. With the tail supported by outriggers, the Shorthorn served primarily as a trainer. Its stable, predictable characteristics made it ideal for teaching basic flying skills. The exposed, ungraceful design earned it the unflattering nickname. Maurice Farman Longhorn, similar to the Shorthorn but with an even longer forward elevator boom, this earlier design was obsolete by 1914. It served in training roles, teaching countless pilots basic flight techniques. Its bizarre appearance with multiple booms and wires looked ancient compared to later streamlined designs. Curtiss JN4 Jenny, though American-designed, the Jenny served with Canadian and British forces as a primary trainer. Thousands of Commonwealth pilots learned to fly in Jennies at training schools in Canada. Its docile handling made it perfect for ab initio training. Let's move on to experimental and specialized designs. Pemberton Billing PB25, an unusual quadruplane designed for anti-Zeppelin patrols with a searchlight and recoilless Davis gun. This bizarre night fighter featured 4 wings and an enclosed cabin for the 3-man crew. Only one prototype was built, proving impractical and never entering service. Vickers FB5 Gunbus, Britain's first purpose-designed fighter aircraft, the Gunbus placed a Lewis gunner in the nose of a pusher design. Though obsolete by 1916, it represented an important step in fighter development. Its squadrons were among the first dedicated fighter units in the RFC. Armstrong Whitworth FK3, a large 2-seat reconnaissance aircraft that served in limited numbers, the FK3 was nicknamed Little Ack. Stable and reliable for observation work, it lacked the performance needed to survive against improving enemy fighters. Most served with home defense and training units. Blackburn Kangaroo, a large twin-engine coastal patrol bomber with an enclosed crew cabin, the Kangaroo was advanced for its time. Designed to combat German submarines and conduct long-range maritime patrol, it entered service near war's end. Its modern design features anticipated post-war aircraft development. Sopwith 5F1 Dolphin, not to be confused with the earlier Dolphin fighter, this was an experimental variant. Various Sopwith types underwent constant development and modification throughout the war. The Sopwith firm's prolific output included dozens of experimental designs that never reached production. Finally, we have observation balloons and kite balloons. KITE, kite balloon, though French-designed, these sausage-shaped observation balloons served extensively with British forces. Tethered at altitudes up to 6,000 feet, observers directed artillery fire via telephone. The distinctive tri-lobed tail fins provided stability in wind. Observers wore parachutes and jumped when enemy fighters attacked their vulnerable hydrogen-filled balloons. Drecken balloon, based on German designs, these elongated observation balloons provided artillery spotting platforms. Tethered by steel cables, they could be winched down quickly when threatened. Balloon observers faced one of the war's most dangerous assignments, suspended in a highly flammable target with fighters specifically hunting them. Coastal-class airship, small non-rigid airships designed for submarine patrol over coastal waters, the C-class blimps provided aerial observation platforms with extended endurance. Their ability to hover and slow speed made them ideal for searching for submarines. Over 200 were built for the Royal Naval Air Service. North Sea-class airship, larger non-rigid airships designed specifically for extended patrols over the North Sea hunting German submarines. These blimps could remain airborne for over 24 hours, covering vast areas of ocean. Their presence forced submarines to remain submerged, reducing their effectiveness. SS-class airship, the first purpose-designed British anti-submarine airships. These small blimps featured enclosed gondolas and carried bombs and radio equipment. Though primitive by later standards, they demonstrated the potential of lighter-than-air craft for maritime patrol. Over 150 served with coastal patrol squadrons.